Welcome to the Champion Blueprint Podcast, where mindset meets mission.
We're diving into what it really takes to lead, win, and live with purpose.
From NFL locker rooms to boardrooms, it's all about discipline, core values, and the habits that build champions.
Whether you're leveling up in business, life, or leadership, this is your playbook.
Champion your mindset.
Champion your purpose.
Let's go.
Welcome, everybody, back to Champion Blueprint, the podcast. George Rogers here, as always, with Gary Brackett. How you feeling today, man?
I'm good, man. Paces in 5.
Paces in 5.
My man went viral last week. We're going to have to pull that video up for the viewers to see.
Yeah, so it was a viral moment that we had in the past. Pat, you know, we celebrating our city, man. It's a beautiful thing going on with a lot of our teams. Everybody's young. We got everything. We got basketball. We got soccer. We got volleyball now.
Women's basketball.
It's women's basketball. Caitlin Clark and the Fever and Cunningham, all those ladies are doing a crazy good job. The city is on fire, especially specifically for the basketball team. Yeah. Pacers, had this series. I mean, we've been going since April. It's been a long 2 months. It's knocking at the door, 100 games. I know our teams are young, but that's still a lot of physical, pounding on your body and working out. But these young guys, they're doing a great job. They're making the city proud. Basketball is, at the place where it used to be with Reggie and the guys back in the day, Steven Jackson, all those, the core guys at that time. So it's beautiful to see. And we went viral, during the final series. Yeah, absolutely. Got a little bit excited after game 3. Yeah. And I may have seen 5 or 6 too many cameras. And, had, shout out to my girl Kelsey. She made me a shirt, NBA, SGA, Stephen A. Yeah. But Pacers in, it's actually blank. It's still blank. Oh, okay. So I'm going to say it's going to be, if we don't win it this year, I hope we do. If we don't win it this year, I'm keeping that shirt. So when we do, we're going to put in that number. But Pacers in 7 now.
Yeah, I love it.
Sometime.
The thing that I love, and I watched the video over and over again, and we're going to definitely pull it up so you can see it, but just the passion that you have on the screen is the same passion that I get to enjoy when we host this podcast. Yeah. Same passion audiences get to enjoy when they see you on the stage. And it's one thing about, being a person that full of energy, right? You can't help it. It just comes out in that everything that you do. Yeah,
it's one of those things where no matter what you're facing in life, at that moment, what can you do to change the dynamic of the atmosphere? Yeah. And, whether it's the stage, as you said, whether it's, the cameras are off and nobody sees our conversations, there's certain temperatures that you have to set in certain rooms. Sometimes it's chill, and then there's times in an environment where you get a crowd pumped and fired up. It's just that mindset. It's pregame, like pregame, I'm real chill. Like, give me my space, but put me in the game, put me in action. Behind the stage, I'm real chill, but the moment I hit the stage, Pacers in 5!
Game time, baby.
Let's go.
But it's crazy, and it's great segue to what we're talking about today, because I'm not saying I'm a ultimate optimist. Yeah. Right? I've always seen things, through the glass is half full. Yeah. And sometimes, you go into a situation thinking it's going to work out, and it doesn't. Yeah. So today, the segment was, going through failure. Yeah. Then you added maybe, and then pregame, pre-show, I was like, what, maybe? Yeah. Was that a typo? What's up to maybe?
It's because some people don't move past, and that's the conversation, is some moving past failure, but maybe. Because some people don't move past it. They get stuck in it, they dwell in it, they live in it, and it's that woe is me mentality. Yeah. As if failure is final. And really for me, what really changed, and I'll share some of these stories, but really changed for me is the moment I realized failure was never final as long as I keep moving forward. Wow. Failure is not final, it's a feedback, right? It's a feedback from the action that you took that did or did not work. Yeah. And so for us, the mentality has to be, what can I learn from this situation? Yep. Right? The glass is half full. How can I fill the rest of this glass? Yeah. Versus the glass is half empty. This is all I have left. Yeah. Right? It's a different mindset. And so as we talk about the champion blueprint, the champion mindset has to kick in then, right? Yeah. And you have to really be able to prepare your mind. You just can't get your mind right. You got to prepare your mind. It's preparing your body, right, for whatever you're doing. Like, prepare mentally for what you're expecting to come in the future. And sometimes, for me, I always had to speak those things into existence. I couldn't just hope for it. I had to work for it. Yeah. And part of that was all here. It was all mental. Like, I believe every battle that we win or lose starts and ends right here. right? In between that, the heart comes in. How bad do you want it? Right? The mind comes back in and says, this is struggling. Do you want this more than you want the opposite, right? And remembering what you have. And so, the maybe part is because there's so many of us, if we're being real, they're in that maybe spot. Like, I give up.
Yeah.
And we walk away.
And it's crazy. I know we're going to talk about the identity piece, but the first piece is so interesting that it's maybe because even it's not really quote unquote failure, right? But going through some sort of adversity, obstacle, like people like say, if you ever lost a parent, I lost my parents at a young age, and when people lose their parents, I'm like, yo, I can empathize. Like I've been through this before. Like,
right.
I can feel you. And they're like, man, like when do you stop thinking about them? Like you don't, never. Yeah. And it's like in failure, it's like, when do you stop thinking about it? Like you don't.
Right.
And I saw something that Kirk Franklin said it. He was like, you gotta win wounded.
Yeah. That's good.
You gotta win wounded.
Win wounded.
Because so many people think, all right, I'm gonna be fresh, I'm gonna be healthy when I feel good, when this comes, when I lose the weight, when I look better, when I get my teeth fixed, my hair done. Like all these excuses because you failed, you got punched in your mouth or whatever the case may be, and now you don't want to show up. Nah, bro, you gotta win wounded. Like you gotta take that L, you gotta take that failure, and you gotta keep pushing forward.
Yeah. So listen, this is just a start. Let's dive into this because I don't want people to get motivated. So often, and I hate when people call me a motivational speaker.
Oh my God.
Motivation has to come from inside. If anything, we're here to give you strategy and inspiration. We want to inspire you, not just to motivate you to take action, but we want to inspire you to live this action. So we want to walk through and get some true strategies. We'll share some touch points on in the blueprint. Thank you. It just might happen to be the podcast.
Exactly.
might happen. So let's set some intention here and talk a little bit about some shared experience.
Yeah.
Right. I share a lot about not just from my nonprofit days. I was youth pastor for 10 years and a lead pastor for 4 years, had a heart attack and all that. And then I felt like there was a sense of identity loss that time I was in the hospital, Gary. And the doctor came up to me the next morning. When I went into the hospital, they checked and they said, you're having Welland's wave syndrome. It's a sign and signal before a massive heart attack. And so at this time, I'm sitting in the ER room eating Cheetos and a Snicker, not thinking I'm healthy, right? I'm not thinking anything but the stress.
What age?
I was 30. This is 2013. I was 31.
Wow.
Yeah, 31. 2013, October, November 31, right after Halloween week.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and the doctor came to me 24, 48 hours after I'd been in the hospital and said, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you do, but whatever it is, you need to change your career. He says, you're healthy.
Yeah.
Stress test was fine. A week later when I was able to do that, he said it was all here.
Yeah.
And here I was holding the stress in. I didn't know how I can help and counsel everybody else, but I couldn't deal with my own.
Yeah.
And in a lot of places, especially in the workplace, for me, I talk and work with a lot of HR people.
Yep.
And I see this all the time. Burnout starts internally. Like they're dying because they're so used to serving other people. So what happens when you're serving others, when you're leading others, you're the captain of the team.
Yeah.
You're the CEO of the company. What is it that helps you understand the moments? So those moments of failure doesn't become stress that could kill you.
Yeah.
Physically, almost for me, mentally, emotionally, sometimes financially, right? And if you dap into the spiritual side of it, you can lose all those moments based on how you do or do not handle failure.
It's so good that you said that because so often when you think about failure, you think about yourself. And one, I think we have to reverse how we view failure.
Yeah.
When we're growing up, it was like, it wasn't cool to fail. And our parents protected us, from doing certain things. So we didn't want to fail. We didn't want to look bad.
Yeah.
And I think we decided or came up with that there was success over here and failure was over here.
Yeah.
And it was the opposite end of the spectrum. But really, I realized growing up and going through so many things that, failure is not the opposite of success. It's on the road to success. And I look at things as there is not a loss, it's a lesson.
Yeah.
And try to get something from every single thing. But some of the biggest anxiety that I had, thank God I didn't have a heart attack about it, but you being a coach, a speaker, a brother, a friend, a husband, whatever, and you're pouring into someone else, and they don't meet the standard, hit the mark, reach the goal, and you feel as though you failed.
Right.
And that's what you experienced when you had that heart attack, where everyone else's pressures was on you. And someone told me something one day, and it released me. And it was, everyone is not your assignment.
That's important. That is important, because you get into a position in life where you're successful and everybody deems you as successful, whatever that looks like or smells like to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's what you drive, sometimes it's the house, and sometimes it's the assumption of the check that they think you get, not knowing that there's taxes and bills and everything else is knocking at the same door.
Assistants in the background, VAs, and all that good stuff.
And so, like, that success just breeds a different type of pressure.
Yeah.
And whenever you invest, and this is the powerful thing about failure, is that it becomes frustrating at times. And I learned very early, I was the irritating person, Gary. This is gonna piss you off probably. I loved frustrated people. If we were friends, if we were coworkers, teammates, and I saw you frustrated, you mean more to me than anybody who was not frustrated. Wow. I don't even have to know what you're frustrated about, but that sign of frustration meant something to me. And it went back, for me, I learned this in 2008. The economy was going crazy.
Yeah.
And I had some friends and some mentors, man, they were frustrated because they had stocks.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I wasn't frustrated, because I didn't have no stocks. And it was at that lesson, Gary, that I learned that frustration is a sign of investment. People don't get frustrated on things they're not invested in.
Yeah.
And that's where the balance, you talk about frustrations, and then you talk about failures. Like, how does this align, right? And so I had to redefine what failure is, because I can look at you and say, let's pull up some clips and watch Gary stumble or miss a gap or Gary miss a tackle. I probably could pull up, and I don't know, but I can probably pull up more plays, right, that you missed a gap or missed an assignment or didn't fulfill what your expectation were for yourself. But in the grand scheme of things, you didn't lose. You won some of those games. You won some of those plays the next play. And so understanding and redefining failure is that just because you missed one play or missed one tackle doesn't define that game as a loss. And so
I think you're talking about, and you jumped ahead a little bit, but you have like a framework that we were discussing earlier. And I think that's the reframe part of that framework. So walk them through the framework of the 3 R's of what they should do when they're kind of in the middle of it and when they experience it. Like, because that's the reframe part, and that's so good. Like in the restaurant business, they said I can either think of it as, and I had a bunch of restaurants. COVID came, and we lost them all, and I can think about it as I lost millions of dollars, or if I have millions of dollars of education.
Yeah,
the former will make me impressed.
Yeah,
the latter, makes me a champion.
Right. And so you redefine. So one of the things I always say is redefining what failure means to you, because you cannot have the world defining failure for you, because it looks different. That's what we learned from failure plus finalities is that it's not final.
Yeah.
Right. You always used to say failure is a comma, not a period.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a continuation of what could be or should be or what will be. It's just all in your mind. And so when we talk about that, then we talk about the internal battle, and this is where the framework that we're talking about. And this is 3 R's, and we'll go back on. So I'll mention them all for us. We redirect, we reframe, and then we re-engage, right? So redirect, this is specifically talking about what actually happened, what took place, right? If we're breaking down a play, if we're sitting here watching film, and I said, let's redirect this energy. You feel like you failed. Let's look at this play, right? How many times have you seen a play where, Gary, you weren't in that gap, but because you were here, you saw something, right? Sometimes it's knowing your assignment, but also knowing that, hey, I got to have a on-the-spot audible where I'm communicating in the midst of the play, right? So I'm switching left, and because I made that decision, my counterpart already knows to adapt. And so redirecting, understanding what actually happened, right? We can talk about you being in the food industry.
Yeah.
$1 million, life lesson. I can talk about being in the retail business where, I was part of a group where we had 18 stores, and I would say we were very successful at it. We had 150, 200 employees in multiple states doing great. sold them in 2018, and then had a friend here in Indiana that wanted to get back into it. And I'm thinking, I don't know about this. And I didn't want to be the face of it. Yeah. Like I love being 1B or 2, right? I don't need to be the star of the show or the star of the ship, but I was a captain. And not only was I the captain, but my partners all lived in Indiana. I was in Georgia.
No, wow.
And so I'm the only boots on the ground. And we acquired 3 locations in retail and did very well. We got them for under what I thought was what the value was. So we did great getting them. How do we turn chicken salad or chicken poop into chicken salad? Yeah, right? Yeah. How do we turn something into nothing into something? And it was difficult because then you got to find the right people. I think about all the great people we had developed over time that made our first run very successful. Not that it was a complete failure, but it wasn't the same standard and expectation when we had those stores. But it taught me something. And so I had to really redirect what that looked like. Success, two different levels of experiences taught me something. Can you talk a little bit about, like, not just once you redirect something, the second thing is reframe it. How can you take, what can you take from this?
Yeah.
Talk about some of the things, you talk about the $1 million lesson. What are some things that you learned?
And that's just it, the reframing of it, because like you said, sometimes you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you look at the past and you look at something that didn't go as planned, or you look at something that may be deemed a failure, and oftentimes you run from it. And when you run from monsters, I've learned they get bigger.
Yeah.
So, one thing, the maybe part that you said, and the whole reflection and redirection is about facing it.
Yeah.
And about watching the film. We would always say in football, Craig, you made the football analogy, that the eye in the sky doesn't lie. And we would watch film and break down every single play. And in your mind, you'd be like, this is an awful game. I had 2 tackles. But looking back on the film, those were some of the best games that I had because I made the right adjustments. I prevented plays from happening. I guarded my guy one-on-one and it was an incomplete pass or someone got a sack. Those guys, Dwight Freeney, soon to be Robert Mathis, in the Hall of Fame for sacking the quarterback. Well, you won't sack the quarterback if people are wide open.
Back end, yeah.
Like the back end has to do something about covering some people, right? So there's that. So I think it's like reframing, not that I only had 2 tackles in the game, that we were successful and I did my job. And we said this before, that oftentimes what you don't realize is that everything you do doesn't necessarily show up on a stat sheet.
True.
Right?
Very true.
And so many people are looking at stats, and stats could be like titles, positions, could be like income, could be different type of things. But sometimes it's like, no, you like positively impacted the lives of 3 people, 5 people, hundreds of people.
Even if you do one, if you change one person's life, think about what they do, right?
Exactly.
Like that's a product of the seed that you planted or the grass that you water, whatever it may be in the person's life.
So I think that reframing of it is important. I remember sometimes I spoke on stages before where I got hyped up. It was supposed to be like thousands of people, and I'll go there and it's like 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be like pissed off, like, man, there's like 15 people also.
Yeah.
Or for me, I'm like, not fire. It's 15 people that came out to hear me.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And I think, reframing, those type of things really helps you succeed. And you talked about before, just like, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
Right.
And for me, reframing and telling myself those stories is me staying ready through adversity. I don't live in this glass bubble to think I'm never going to face the obstacles.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to face them, but I also know I survive 100% of my bad days.
Yeah.
And anything that I face, I know I'm willing to survive that too.
Yeah. And ultimately, it comes into how do you control the narrative?
Yeah.
Because failure does something to you mentally, something to you emotionally. And so it's important, as we always talk about, identity. Mm-hmm. How does this reflect in the workplace? If a company is not thriving and you're failing, whether it's from a monetization where you're not funding yourself and the business is going in debt, or you got retention, turnover rate is high. And so it's like, you cannot get no momentum because you're always having to train and replace. And so there's different types of failure. I always go back to when failure happens, it reflects your identity on the opposite end. If you don't have self-worth, if you don't have self-accountability, if you don't have that structure to really create this what we're talking about, redirection, and really try to reframe this, then it's impossible to do number 3, and that's re-engage. How do I get to where I need to get to, right? Because at the end of the day, you tried something. That thing that you failed at is the next move. So how do we get to that next move? You have to be able to re-engage and say, what is my next move? Not tomorrow, but right now. Like, what's the right move? The next right move, right? That gets me to that. I think of it almost in a game of chess. Like, you almost have to plan. Like, I don't ever expect failure to happen, but I'm prepared for it if it does, right? Because in chess, you got to know this, not just what you're about to do, but what's the counter for the next 2 or 3 moves. And if you're really good at it, some people say 5 to 8 moves. Now, I ain't that good. I'm thinking about 2 to 3. If you know what I'm doing in the next 2 or 3 moves, you got me every time. But that's my mentality and my preparation in that game. In life and in work, how do we get to that next move and be able to re-engage? I always say, and I have a rule, whether it's frustration, whether it's disappointments, or whether somebody just really fires me up and pisses me off. I have a 24 to 48 hour rule. I sleep on it. I don't make any decisions about that, because anything emotional, I don't want to make a permanent decision, right? On something that's temporary. And so I always try to hold that moment, and I sleep on it for 24 to 48 hours. Now, if I wake up with that same, this got to be dealt with, we got to talk about it. And so I re-engage. And so part of that re-engagement is really, how do I then listen to that inner voice and really get out of the things that can keep me stuck? How do I then get that fuel to come back and control this narrative? It is important to me. And I think about that in work. I think about that for people in careers. I think about that obviously in leadership when we talk about it. And today's all about R's, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about R's. I want to talk about the 4 R's for forward progress. And I'm gonna mention these, and I want you to take the first 2. The 4 R's in forward progress. So after you experience failure in your business and your company, recognize, respect, realign, and then the 4th one is recommit. Talk a little bit about the forward progress. We internalize, we dealt with the failure, we got our emotions, we got all these things bottled up, and we figured it out, right? We have reflected, we've reframed and re-engaged, and now we're saying we want to recognize and respect, right? Recognize the reality, respect the emotion.
It's funny, coaching youth sports, we want to win every game, right? That's
the competitive.
That's always the goal. Sometimes we fall short. A lot of times we fall short, and some players view losses and failure different than others. And at that age, and even hell in the NFL, even now, like you shed tears, right? Because you said frustration is a sign of commitment.
Investment.
An investment. So I think the whole respect in that emotion is that when I see kids crying, it's not like, what are you crying for? It's just 3rd grade football. Or it's just girls. Like, no, they care.
They're invested.
They're invested.
They're committed. They're putting in work.
So respecting the emotion, like when you're on job and someone is discussing the ideal or something that they had, they're passionate about that ideal. And here's the thing, I would rather have passionate people that I work with than people that are indifferent. Right? People that are indifferent, no, I don't care. Maybe like.
It's hard to go to work and fight with somebody that's...
get away from me. Like I wear my emotion on my sleeve. I'm invested, and I respect the emotion of others that care. And I realized that oftentimes people care about things that I don't care about. But because they care about it, I'm at a point now where I can say, hey, let's talk about this. Like, why are you so emotional about this?
The why is important.
And that's where
that's good.
And that's where you hear about man, I stayed up all night. I've been thinking about this for years. And it's just like, now it makes sense. Like, this means something to you because of that investment. And understanding that, helps you then, like you said, move forward.
I think about that. So you recognize the reality, you respect the emotion behind it. And then as you do that, you get into that relationship where you try to understand the why.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of this person's pain? What's the purpose of this person's passion?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of this person's commitment towards all these things? And that's where the realignment comes back into place. How do we realign this back to the vision or the strategy that the workplace had, right? And understanding, hey, this is what happened. I always made it a case, especially in our retail stores, I celebrated failures just as much as I celebrated success because I didn't want anybody on my team to stop risking taking a chance on what they believe was going to benefit the company. If you failed, it was my responsibility as a leader to come in to do exactly this, realign, hey, this is the vision and the strategy. What did you do? That didn't work. What if we thought about something else? Because I never wanted them to stop taking risks because my mentality was little risk, little reward. I wanted big risk because I knew that there was going to be big rewards. And so we celebrated the failures. Listen, I want to thank you for investing in this company and taking that chance. Although it failed, now what can I do to help you get to the mission? What's next? And so we realign that. And the moment you realign that this is what happens and this is the impact that it happens, not just in your life, your work, in your leadership, but then you get recommitment or you release the pain.
Yeah.
Right? I'm recommitted, right? The only thing that's going to stir that scab up is if you fall again. Sometimes, you make the same injury, same play, and you bang up. And it's like, man, I keep on breaking the same. I keep on twisting the same angle. I keep on, the same scab keeps on reopening. The same failure keeps on reopening this pain. But the moment you recognize, you respect, you realign, you get recommitment. And that's the goal of making sure that's where maybe comes in.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can recognize, you can respect, you can realign. Some people like, nah, I ain't committed. I've been down this road, right? And I've experienced that. You won't ever get me, and I never say never.
Yeah.
But it would take high water and a yacht
to
get me to get back in retail space. My heart's not in it, right? I love it. I respect those who are grinding out and doing it. It's a different industry now, especially with e-com and everything else. But there's some things that I can't recommit to. Now, it taught me something. You got $1 million lesson. I got $1 million lesson, right? There's failure all around, but how do we recommit to this thing? And I believe it truly is dictated on how leaders handle failure and set the tone of how teams can respond to it and really innovate and become something new. Because I believe failure it exposes who you were, and then it creates something new inside of you that you can get to. I want to close with this pivoted point that I believe is important is when to move or when to stay. Because that's where we talk about if you're going to recommit to it, when do you say, all right, it's time to move on? Or, hey, this is still something we're chipping at the block, right? You keeping your core together. Sometimes, especially in sports, the team is not always the same.
Yeah.
It's rarely, I don't know if there's ever been a team in NFL in the last 20 plus years where the team was 100% the same. You're bringing in new rookies. You're signing somebody to replace somebody. Yeah. The old dog is retiring, stepping away. Yep. He wants to go to a different team where his expectations are a little bit lower. He's at the last ride. He only wants to do 5-10 minutes a half. When to move on and then when to stay. How do you determine that when it comes to failure? Like you're in the midst of this. You've done the internal 3R framework. Yeah. You've done the 4 R's to help you move forward. And now it's the decision. Do we stay or do we go?
So here's the thing that I realized. Most people get so caught up on making a decision, should they stay or should they move on? And they put so much value and weight on that decision.
Yep.
Where for me, I understand that that's a part of the equation, but an even greater part is what you do after you make that decision. Because I believe in something, as an econ major at Rutgers, a sunk cost. Like sometimes investments has already been made in this situation.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to put good money after bad. You don't want to put good energy after bad. Like if you got an employee and you've been trying, they just won't get it. Like sometimes you have to give them a glowing recommendation and let them go.
Exactly.
Be someone else's challenge. Like everyone is not your assignment. And that's okay. You talked about releasing the pain, which is so good. And so many people, right, don't give themselves the same grace that they give others.
So true. Self-leadership. You got to show yourself probably in some cases more grace than you give others.
More grace. If we talk to people the way that we sometimes talk to ourselves, we will have no friends.
Yeah.
No friends.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to give yourself permission to show yourself grace. to accept the failure. People don't want to move on because they don't want to accept the failure. So they'll rather hide behind this pain, behind this debt, behind this, bad job, bad relationship, whatever that situation is, as opposed to like accepting it, moving on, and going through the process, knowing that you're not going to go over it. You're not going to just like get over it. No. What you said, or maybe.
Or maybe.
You're going to live with it.
Yeah.
But we talked about it earlier. You got to be able to win wounded.
I love everything that you said, and you're tapping into a future episode coming up on showing yourself grace, self-leadership, and really leading yourself in this thing that we call life. I want to wrap it up because as we talk about these things, we talk about redefining failure, managing your mindset, really model leadership, and really be able to pivot wisely. I want to encourage people, and I want people to understand quitting, as we wrap up, quitting isn't failure.
Yeah.
Staying stuck is. Yeah. Right. And so knowing the old song, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You got to be able to do those things in your life personally, right? Self-leadership, leading yourself, give yourself grace, love yourself. Sometimes we don't even trust ourselves. Sometimes I'll be like, man, I trust Gary more than I trust myself.
Yeah.
Right. You got to be able to trust. You got to be able to show that. And we're going to be talking a lot about that in the future. And I'm so excited about this. But listen, moving forward from failure doesn't have to be a maybe.
Yeah.
And moving forward from failure doesn't mean you have to swap teams, because the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Grass sometimes is just greener wherever it's watered. And so you can't get stuck and give up. You got to water it. You got to continue to be willing to grow it. Adapt is the key. And as always, make sure that you're reflecting, you reframe it, you re-engage yourself. And once you do those things to be able to move forward, you recognize, you respect, you realign, and then you recommit.
Yeah.
Or release that pain at very little. So if any of this message today on the podcast has stuck out to you, we encourage you to make sure you DM us, leave us some notes, drop a chat, share this, like this if it's impacted you, or you know somebody that's going through some things where they feel like failure is a challenge for them and they're feeling stuck. If any of this content is relevant to them, we ask that you share it and tag us in it as well. Hashtag failure is not final.
Sure.
It's feedback, baby. And so we want to make sure that you're ready to go. Champion Blueprint, the podcast. George Rogers, Gary Brackett, champion your mindset so you can champion your purpose. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, let's go.